matching up against Asia, you have to respect everything that she has done and what she's capable of, and it's competitive. That's what you want. You want these games to be competitive. You want people to go at you so you can go at them.
Of course, because all eyes are on Stewie and I, but at the end of the day, it's something that's going to grow our game. When you look at the NBA, when you look at football, anything, there's always a good matchup that everyone's tuned into no matter what. So it's good that we are finally starting to grow something like that. To where people can tune in and be like, hey, I might not watch one WNBA game, but the Ace of Seattle matchup is something that you got to catch.
They know it. They know exactly what this rivalry means to their personal game, their individual legacies, and for the WNBA as a whole. A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart have faced off many times throughout their career, but right now it feels like they're both reaching their peak and setting the stage for a rivalry that could transform this league. The semifinals matchup between the Aces and Storm in the 2022 WNBA playoffs has lived up to the hype it had going in. These are two of the best, most complete teams in the league. But the hype is largely driven by the opportunity to see another high-stakes battle between A'ja and Stewie. A lot has been made of comparing these two players this season and who should be the MVP. Hell, the first video I made for this channel was largely comparing their performance this season. But honestly, it's bigger than this season. It's bigger than the MVP trophy. The budding rivalry between these two has the power to drive interest and intrigue to professional women's basketball for the next decade, and Game 2 of the semifinals felt like the beginning of something truly special. Two powerful leaders of their respective teams, both reaching the peak of their powers, going toe-to-toe with everything on the line. It's time to talk about what we just watched in Game 2. To put it in historical context and discuss the legendary playoff resumes that both these players are building and how their continued matchups over the coming years will fuel the WNBA to new heights. Let's begin with the playoff action. Game 2 was an absolute showcase for both A'ja and Stewie. Starting with Stewie's night, she was an absolute assassin as usual. Offensively, she was cutting in for layups, shooting pull-up jumpers over everyone's head, and draining clutch three-pointers. She ended the game with 32 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks, including this absolutely smothering block when contesting a layup from Chelsea Gray. On the other side, A'ja was able to match Stewie's energy and outperform her production, draining a three-pointer of her own and coming up huge with 12 made shots, posting a double-double with 33 total points, 13 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Most impressively, A'ja was able to post these types of numbers while committing 0 turnovers and 0 personal fouls. While Stewie may have had similar box score numbers, she did commit 2 turnovers and actually fouled out of the game toward the end, committing her 6th foul late in the 4th quarter. A'ja Wilson's performance in this game was truly a masterclass and one of the best playoff performances in WNBA history. This plot shows the player impact estimate for all 30-point double-doubles ever recorded in the playoffs. If you're unfamiliar, player impact estimate is a catch-all stat that measures a player's overall impact on the game. A score of 10 is an average game. A score around 15 is a really good game, and anything higher than 20 is a highly impactful performance. 4 of these performances happened early in the WNBA's history, with the top 2 players being Lisa Leslie and Yolanda Griffith matching up in the 2001 Western Conference Finals. Lauren Jackson did it in 2004, and Tamika Catchings did it in 2007. Candace Parker has done it twice in 2012 and 2013. Elena Deladon and Jonquel Jones also had 30-point double-doubles in 2018 and 2019, respectively. And our final 2 women who have accomplished this, Breanna Stewart in 2020 when she dropped 37 points and 15 rebounds against A'ja in the Aces in the WNBA Finals, and of course, A'ja Wilson's 33-point, 13-rebound night from the second round of this year's playoffs against Stewie. This places both of them in very elite company. Everyone on this list is either in the Hall of Fame already or an unquestioned future Hall of Famer. Also good news for A'ja is that with the exception of Yolanda Griffith and Candace Parker, each of the other 30-point double-doubles happened during playoff runs that ended in championships. It'll be a tough road to climb though. One of the players on this list is already standing in her way, and if she makes it to the finals, she'll have to see either Candace Parker or Jonquel Jones, who are also on this list. But regardless of the outcome, Asia is already building a legendary playoff resume. And of course, any good rivalry or comparison will ultimately come down to how good you are when it matters the most. For that, let's look at the tail of the tape. This figure shows the current playoff resumes of Asia and Stewie. Although Stewie has been in the league 2 years longer, they have played in a similar number of playoff games, so this is a pretty fair comparison of per-game stats. Stewie is a superior scoring threat, averaging more points on a higher true shooting percentage than Asia, while Asia is averaging more rebounds and blocks in her playoff efforts. But of course, Stewie has the biggest prizes that matter the most: 2 rings and 2 Finals MVP trophies. Stewie's early playoff success gives this rivalry a bit of a David versus Goliath intrigue to it at this point in time. Despite both being excellent players on top teams in the league, Stewie is the top player on one of the WNBA's oldest, most storied franchises and has 2 rings to show already. Asia is front-running with the new kids on the block who just relocated to Las Vegas 4 years ago. In a way, the battles they are having now are reminiscent to their matchups in college. Stewie was a star at UConn, one of the most storied women's basketball dynasties over the last 3 decades, producing top talents like Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Rebecca Lobo, Tina Charles, the list goes on. Asia took a different path and decided to go to her hometown University of South Carolina, which is a good program but at the time was far from a powerhouse. Stewie and Asia would ultimately play each other twice in NCAA competition, with Stewie and UConn winning by double digits both times. UConn was the well-oiled machine. South Carolina was still wet behind the ears. After Stewie left for the WNBA, Asia was able to help bring South Carolina their first national championship in school history in 2017. Unlike college, in the WNBA, Stewie isn't going anywhere. And if Asia wants to win a championship, she will likely have to beat her head-to-head to make that happen. And as fans, we get to watch these epic battles ensue for the next decade, which is great for the league. Rivalries can be the lifeblood of sports intrigue, the carrot that can bring attention of casual viewers, and the sticking point of obsession and debate for diehard fans. The 80s rivalry between Larry Bird and Magic Johnson is often credited with ushering in the era of prosperity, success, and wealth that the NBA currently enjoys. And this isn't unique to basketball. Whether it's Ali versus Frazier in boxing or Brady versus Manning in football, every sport has storied rivalries that carry that sport to new heights in terms of popularity and interest. This effect of Asia and Stewie is already bearing fruit in terms of television ratings. When the Aces and Storm played on the final day of the season, ESPN put out this tweet to highlight that the game was the most viewed regular season WNBA game across all networks in 14 years. This being Sue Bird's last regular season home game likely played a role here, but even outside of that, this is becoming a marquee matchup for the WNBA. Like Asia said, even if you don't watch any other WNBA game, you know the Aces versus Storm is something that you gotta see. And if Game 2 of the semifinals is any indication, this rivalry will only get better with time, with the potential to become the type of star-studded attraction that can transform the WNBA and power it to new heights. Well, that's all I got for this one. I'll see you in the next one.